So I'm gonna attempt to play a two-stroke instrument here by trying to keep 5 bikes running at the same time. We're out here in the desert, freezing cold, to warm up some two-strokes. I've gotten a lot of questions over the years about how to warm up a two-stroke, and there seems to be a lot of confusion because people end up fouling a lot of plugs. And the reason why they foul plugs is because they're letting their bikes idle too long. See, two-strokes are not like four-strokes, where with a four-stroke you can just start the thing and just let it idle for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes, and it'll just come up to operating temperature. Your two-strokes are a little bit different because your two-strokes have oil in the fuel, and you will plug up your silencers, and you'll also foul your plug because it's not getting hot fast enough. We're gonna have a little fun with that and also show you how I warm up my two-strokes, and I have never, ever fouled a plug in 12 years of doing this. Stick around. So when we're warming up these bikes, we really have to think about 3 things, and that is not filling up our power valve with goo, unburnt oil, not filling up our silencer packing with unburnt fuel oil, and also not fouling our spark plug. Now, the reason why a spark plug fouls is because it's not hot enough. And something that we kind of forget sometimes is that the oil mixed in with the two-stroke gas actually makes that fuel mixture burn a little cooler. It doesn't burn as hot as like the gas that is not mixed, like in a 4-stroke. And so first off, the motor is super cold and everything is just kind of trying to warm up and everything, and you're putting, nothing is hot enough in there to really burn efficiently. And so what is happening is a bunch of unburnt fuel and oil is going through the bike, through the power valve, through the initial part of the exhaust, through this part of the exhaust. And it's just kind of gooing up there. And also that cold spark plug can foul, and then it sucks. So how do we avoid that? Well, don't let a two-stroke idle too long. Some of us out there, I know, are letting these bikes just idle. They just start them and they just let it just go at that low RPM, and then they go get dressed or whatever. I do not do that. What I do is I make sure that I check if I've got an air fork, I check the pressure of the air fork, I check my front wheel pressure, I check my rear wheel pressure. I make sure that the bike is all ready to go. And then I go put my gear on. And at that point, then it's okay to get on the bike and start the thing up and put my helmet on. So basically I'm just gonna do that for you and show you what my warm-up procedure would really be like. So I get on the bike. This bike has been started for just a couple minutes as I was doing that little test. And it's okay to let it idle down a little low, but I'm not gonna let it idle forever. I'm basically just going to put my helmet on, put some RPMs in it, see, like that. Nothing crazy, I'm not going crazy. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Normally I'd have a riding pack on as well. My riding pack is over there sitting by the truck. And then at this point, I'm going to just actually, notice I'm bringing it above idle, just like that, just real gentle. And then I'll probably go out and do some balance practice. Now this is the first time this bike has ever been run. It's a 125XC, so I'm just gonna back the cameras up and just do a little bit of balance practice, show you kind of what my routine would be for the first minute or so, or first couple minutes when the bike is running. Now keep in mind sometimes I'll just take off and go slow. Oh boy, 125, and she's not warm. Now keep in mind, sometimes I'll just take off and go slowly. And just, you notice how I'm dragging the clutch here? I'm just doing a little bit of balance practice. I haven't ridden for a bit. Oh, look at that, I got it. Got it locked in here. Oh yes. Oh, that's good. Man, I've got the front wheel kind of locked into a spot. But see how I'm just keeping some RPMs? I'm gonna come back around to you guys. See, I'm just keeping some RPMs in the bike and just not letting it just sit there and idle. See if I can get that again. Over closer to you guys. Close. And this is just bringing the bike up to operating temperature. a little bit quicker because I'm dragging the clutch. And you know, we're probably at 3,000 RPMs, but what I'm not doing is I'm not putting a bunch of load in that motor, if that makes sense. So, and I can already tell the bike is getting crisper, man. This TBI, this 125 TBI, I haven't ridden it yet. I mean, but this thing is a freaking crisp motor. And I don't have a gauge on this. I didn't put a radiator fan or anything with a gauge on this, so I can't tell exactly. I'll come back around in the frame. I can't tell exactly how warm it is yet. But at this point, oh, we got it. At this point, the bike is almost, it's almost ready to just kind of roll out. Now, I could just roll out and then I just kind of go. I don't go 5th gear pinned or 6th gear pinned or anything, and I don't put a lot of load in the motor, but what I'm doing is I'm getting the bike up to operating temperature much quicker than if it was just idling, and I'm not filling my power valve with goo, and I would never, ever, ever, ever foul a plug doing it like this if my bike is actually, you know, tuned somewhat properly. Now, if your bike has too much fuel going through the carburetor, if you got a carburetor like a YZ250 or something like that, if you got too much fuel going through your carburetor, it's easy to foul the plugs, okay? So just keep that in mind. A lot of this, to keep your bike from fouling a plug, some of this is just actually having the carburetor tuned properly where you don't have too much fuel and oil going through the system, okay? But if it's a fuel injected bike and you're fouling plugs, it could be like if you have a TPI bike, it could be that your crankcase pressure sensor has gone bad. I've had some people email me saying that that has been the case. Like maybe they have their bike for 10 or 20 hours and then all of a sudden it starts fouling plugs like crazy, keeps fouling them. Sometimes it's the CCP, the crankcase pressure sensor. Send me an email, I can send you like more information on that. I've never fouled a plug on a big bike ever. We foul plugs on some of my kids' bikes, but I've never fouled a plug on a 125 and up in the 12 years that I've been doing this. And that's because I'm letting my bike warm up quicker by not letting it idle. Again, I'm not hurting the motor, but we're bringing that to operating temperature faster. So that's a little tidbit for you guys. Well, I came out here to film how to warm up a two-stroke. The whole plan was to do this all week long. And I wanted to bring a bunch of two-strokes together and get a bunch of smoke going all over the place. And the problem is, it snowed. And so now we have a white background trying to pick up the white smoke coming out of these things, out of the tailpipes of these bikes, and that just isn't gonna work. So we're gonna pivot and try this another day. Welcome to my world. And until next time, leave a single track.